Why do you want to be made new?
So, a couple weeks ago, Sophia, I was picking her up from school, and she had been playing with Play-Doh, and she'd made this beautiful, Play-Doh tree. She'd used a cookie cutter and had cut it out with the teacher, and she was just so proud of it, right? I mean, she probably had barely done anything, but she was just beaming with enthusiasm that she had made this thing, and she brought it over to me when I picked her up from school, and I had to break her heart by telling her that we couldn't take it home, that we had to put this back so that other friends could be playing with the Play-Doh too. And so I took her by the hand and I showed her how to take the Play-Doh and squish it up, into a nice little ball, and promised her that we could make something new, that next time she could make an even better tree. And she understood, and she was excited about squishing up the Play-Doh in her hand. But there was a look in her eye, and it wasn't in grief, but there was just something where there was a heartbrokenness, there was a disappointment in having to take this thing that seemed so precious to her and having to squish it up in her hand, even though she knew that there was a promise that she could make something better. And so when I hear this idea of a new creation, right, when Paul is writing this and he says, the old is gone, the new has come, everyone is a new creation, I think it's a lot like that Play-Doh, right? Because we think about new creation in our heads, and we're like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so freeing. We get to be new. We get to do something that's different than before. But what Paul is telling us really is that we're going to be squished up like Play-Doh and formed into something that we won't even recognize. It's going to be something entirely different than we would have ever seen before, and that's going to be painful. It's going to be hard to say goodbye to the things that were, in order to be made into something new. And so, we might ask ourselves, why do we do this, and why do we wear it? Well, I want to do this. I want to be made into something new because I am broken, because I am at fault, and I do things wrong, and I don't treat people the way I should, and I say things that I shouldn't, and I think things that I shouldn't, and so I do want to be made new, but that doesn't mean it's not going to hurt. And that's the hard part for us, is that it's going to be pain in this process. We might get squished up along the way, but it's all part of the promise that we're going to be made into something even more beautiful than we could ever imagine, because God knows that what we are right now, it's not what we were intended to be.